Okay, Year 11, these are the solutions for questions 1 to 10 for June 2017 Unit 2 Intermediate paper. So, question 1 is asking us to calculate 39% of £576. So, on your calculator, you can use the percentage key. So, if I type in 39%, so to get percent, I press Shift and then the bracket key there to give me percent. And then I just times by, because of means times, by 576. My calculator will give me the answer. It's giving me it in third form, so if I press the SD button, that will change from third to decimal, and I get my answer of £224.64. Okay, question 2. Calculate 3/7 of 100, give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. Again, if you can remember my song, to find the fraction of a number, divide it by the bottom and times it by the top. So, to find the fraction of a number, divide by the bottom, divide by 7, times by the top, which is 3. To find the fraction of a number, divide by the bottom, times by the top. And if we work that out on our calculator, 100 divided by 7 times by 3. Again, press your SD button. That gives me 42.857142, and that goes on forever and ever. It does ask us to round to the nearest whole number. Because this, so if I'm rounding to the nearest whole number, I'm going to round at this point here, and because that is an 8, I'm going to round up to 43. Okay, how many quarters are in 10? So basically that's the same as saying 10 divided by 1/4. You've got a calculator to do that. So you do 10 divided by, press your fraction key, type in 1/4, press equals, and your calculator will work out for you, which is 40. Okay, what fraction is equal to 50% of 1/6? So we can do this very similarly as we did to question 1. So we would type into our calculator 50%, the word of means times. So 50, shift, bracket key for the times, and then we're timesing by fraction key 1/6, and we press equals, and that gives us an answer of 1/12. Okay, circle the fraction is a recurring decimal. Well, you might not be able to spot this, but if you fraction, if you want to work out, convert it to a decimal, you just do the top divided by the bottom. So you can work all these out on your calculator. Just do 21 divided by 35. Well, you can see that gives me 3/5. If I change that to a decimal, that's 0.6. Well, that's not a recurring decimal. 10 divided by 12. If I press the SD button on there, then you can see there is a dot above the 3, and that means that the 3 repeats itself. If I press the SD button again, it will actually show you that the 3 is repeating. So the recurring decimal has got to be that one there. Okay, question 2, true or false question. You have to decide whether the following statements are true or false. So, first one, a triangle with one angle equal to 70 could be an equilateral triangle. Well, the word equilateral, the word equi means that you've got equal sides and equal angles. Well, you should know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. So if they're all going to be equal, that means that the angles in an equilateral triangle would all be 60 degrees each, because 180 divided by 3 is 60. So that one is false. A triangle with one angle equal to 70 could be an isosceles triangle. Well, an isosceles triangle has got 2 equal angles. So I could have that one to be 70, and this one could be 70, and then that one could be 40. That's an isosceles triangle, and all the angles add up to 180, so that is true. A triangle with one angle equal to 70 could be a right angle triangle. So if we drew a right angle triangle, that means that one of the angles are 90 degrees. So that angle there is 90 degrees. This one could be 70 degrees, which would then mean that this one would be 20 degrees. They all add up 180, so that's okay as well. So that's true. An isosceles triangle could have one of its angles equal to 105. So again, an isosceles triangle means that one of the angles, two of the angles have got to be the same. Well, if this one here was 105, then that one and that one could be equal, because if I took 105 from 180, that leaves me with 75, and then I half 75, that gives me 37.5 degrees each. So that could be an isosceles triangle. And then the last one, a right angle triangle could have one of its angles equal to 105. Well, that's going to be false, because if you think about it, if you've got a right angle triangle here which is 90, and then one of the angles is 105, if you add those two together, that comes to 195 degrees. Well, angles in a triangle have got to add up to 180, so you can't have that situation there, so that one's got to be false. Okay, question 3. Calculate the answer when the largest prime number that is a factor of 28 is multiplied by the smallest prime number that is a factor of 15. So the best thing to do here would be write out your factors for 28 and 15, then figure out which ones are the prime numbers, and then you can use that to work out your answer. So 28, they come in pairs, and if we go through them in order, you're less likely to miss any out. So you start with 1 in itself. 1 times 28 makes 28. Does 2 go into 28? Yes, 14 times. Does 3? No, I can't multiply 3 by anything to make 28. 4, yes, I can do 4 times 7. 5, no. 6, no. 7, yes, but then that's a repeat, so I can stop there. Now if I write down my factors of 15, I can do 1 times 15. I can't times 2 by anything to make 15, but I can do 3 times 4. And then can I do 4? No. Can I do 5? Yes, but then it's a repeat of what we've already got. So I need the largest prime number is a factor of 28. So a prime number is a number that has two factors, or two numbers that will divide into it, which is 1 in itself. 1 isn't a prime number because the only number that goes into 1 is 1, and it needs to have two numbers to divide into it. So 2 would be my first prime number. 4 isn't, because 1, 2 and 4 go into it. 28 isn't, because 1, 28, 14, 7, 4, it's got way more than two factors. 14 has got more than two factors, and the other one would be 7. So there's my two prime numbers for 28, and I need the largest prime number. So the largest out of those two there is 7, and then I've got to times that by the smallest prime factor of 15. Well, again, prime is not a 1 is not a prime factor, 3 is, and 5 is, but we need the smallest, which is going to be the 3. So I need to do 7 times 3, which is 21. Okay, question 4. The diagram shows a number machine input, then you've got to add 7, multiply by 3 to get your output. So it says, using the number machine, calculate the input when the output is 36. So if you're given the output, the easiest way to do these is to work backwards and do the opposite. So if I'm starting with 36, instead of multiplying by 3, I'm going to divide by 3, which would give me, I'm going the opposite way, that would give me 3. And then instead of adding 7, I'm going to take away 7. So that means that my input would have been minus 4. Sorry, I've done that wrong there. 36, instead of multiplying by 3, I should be dividing by 3, which gives me 12. And then instead of adding 7, I take away 7. So my answer here should be, 5. And this is going to be 5 here. Okay, and you can just check that. If I put 5 in, add 7, that's be 12. Multiply by 3, that gives me 36. Okay, part B, the output when the input is n. So if I'm putting n in, I add 7. That's going to give me n plus 7. That's going to get me 1 mark. Then I got to multiply by 3. If I'm multiplying all of this by 3, I need a set of brackets around it. And you can either write it like that, times by 3, or if you want to tidy it up, you could write it as 3 bracket n plus 7. But either would be okay, but you need the brackets in. Okay, number 5. Write down 3 integers, all less than 25, whose range is 8 and mean is 13. So what I would do here, if the mean is 13 of 3 numbers, I would write down the total of the 3 numbers, which will help. So to work out the total, if I got 3 numbers and the mean is 3 lots of 13, that would give me a total of 39. So my three numbers have got to add up to 39, and they've got to have a range of 8, and they've all got to be less than 25. So let's pick a number to start with. Maybe let's pick 20. So if 20 is one of our numbers, it's less than 25. If the range is going to be 8, that means the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number has got to be 8. So one of my numbers would need to be 12. And then they need to add up to 39. So the other number would have to be 7. But if my other number was 7, then the range wouldn't be 8. So I can't have those. So let's try another number, say 17. So I will start with 17. If I take away 8 from that, that means that the range between the biggest and smallest now is 8. And they've got to add up to 39. So 9 plus 17 gives me 26. So I would need 13. So my answer would be 9, 13, and 17. And there's lots of other combinations as well that you could use. But 9, 13, and 17 fit. They're all less than 25. They've got a range of 8. And when you add up and divide by 3, they give me a mean of 13. Okay. Number 6, write down the first 3 terms of the sequence whose nth term is given by 2n minus 5. So if we want the first 3 terms, the first term n would be equal to 1. The second term n is equal to 2. Third term n is equal to 3. So we just substitute them into this here. 2n minus 5 means 2 times n take away 5. So if n is 1, I'm going to have 2 times 1 take away 5. If n is 2, I have 2 times 2 take away 5. If n is 3, I have 2 times 3 take away 5. And then I just need to work out the answers to these. 2 times 1 is 2, take away 5 is minus 3. 2 times 2 is 4, take away 5 is minus 1. 2 times 3 is 6, take away 5 is 1. So my 3 numbers are minus 3, minus 1, 1. Okay, write down an expression for the nth term of the following sequence. So the nth term is a formula for working out any number in the sequence. To get the first part of the formula, you need to find out what the rule is. So the rule is add 4. So because it's going up in 4s, the first part of my formula would be 4n. If it was going up in 8s, it would be 8n. If it was going up in 2s, it would be 2n. And then the second part of my formula, if you imagine the sequence going backwards, what comes before the 7, your 0 term, if you like? Well, if you're going backwards, you're taking away 4, so this number would be a 3, and because it's a positive 3, I need a plus 3 on the end. Okay, number 7, the dice is thrown 50 times. The number shown on the dice is recorded after each throw. The table shows the results below. Part A says the relative frequency of throwing a 1 was calculated as 9 over 50, and the way they've got 9 over 50, they've just done 9 divided by 50 on their calculator, which gives you 0.18. What was the relative frequency of throwing a 6? Give your answer as a decimal. So you can see that a 6 was thrown 13 times out of 50, so you would need to do 13 over 50. So on your calculator, work out 13 divided by 50, and that gives me an answer of 0.26. The number 4 was thrown 7 times in the first 50 throws. Using this fact, calculate how many times you would expect a 4 to be thrown when this dice is thrown 3,000 times. So to work this out, you just got to multiply your relative frequency by the number of times it's been thrown. So the relative frequency for the number 4 was 7 over 50. And you've got to times it by how many times it was thrown, which is 3,000. 7 over 50 times 3,000 gives me 420. Okay, how many times do you expect a 4 to be thrown when a fair dice is thrown 3,000 times? Well, the probability of getting a 4 on a fair dice, you would expect it to be 1 over 6, because there's only one 4 on a dice out of 6 different numbers. And then again, you would just times that by 3,000. And if you work that in your calculator, it gives you an answer of 500. You'd expect to get each number 500 on a fair dice. Okay, number 8. This is a regular pentagon, which means all the sides are the same length. So all these sides are the same length if it's regular. It asks us to calculate the size of angle X. You must show all your workings. Well, all these lines here in the middle, they meet at the center there, at that point. And if you remember, one of your angle rules is that all angles around the point add up to 360 degrees. So all these angles around the point there, they all add up to 360 degrees. So I could work out what DOC is by doing 360 divided by 5, which gives me 72 degrees. So this angle here is 72 degrees. Now if this is a regular polygon, that means that this side there and this side there are equal, which makes this an isosceles triangle. So that means that this angle here and this angle here are equal. So I can work out X by doing 180, take away 72, and then half in my answers. So 180, take away 72, press equals, and then half your answer. That means that X is 54 degrees. So that one's 54, and that one would be 54. Okay, for number 9, it says that the expression in each circle is found by adding the expressions in the rectangles. So the answer in the circle is made by adding these two together. So 3x plus x gives me 4x, plus y and plus 4y gives me the plus 5y in there. And it's just asking us to complete the diagram. Okay, so if I start with this bottom left-hand rectangle here, something plus 3x has got to make 8x, so that's got to be 5x. 5x plus 3x makes 8x, and then something plus y has got to make 3y in the middle, so it's got to be 2y. And then this one and this one has got to make the middle, so 5x plus 4x makes 9x, and then you've got to be careful with this one because I've got a plus 2y and a minus y. Plus 2y minus y gives me plus 1y, or just plus y. And then this one and this one, if I add them together, x plus 4x gives me 5x. Plus 4y minus y, plus 4 minus 1y gives me plus 3y. Okay, last question, and this is an OCW question, so you need to be careful with your spelling and how you set it out, and need to include all your units. It's asking us to calculate the area of the trapezium CDEF, so it's asking us to work out the area of that trapezium there. The formula for the area of trapezium is given to you at the front of the paper, which might be helpful if you could write that down. There. So the area of a trapezium, I'll just write on the side here, is a half A plus B H. Okay, we'll use that in a minute. So, H stands for the height, so this would be the height here, but we can't figure that out because we don't know what it is. A and B are the lengths of a parallel side, so we can call this one A and this one B. It doesn't really matter which one you call A and B because you're adding them together. I know that that side there is the same as that side, so that's got to be 7. So I know my A and my B, but I don't know my H, so I need to figure out this height here, which would become our H. Right, so to do this, we've got a bit more information down the bottom. It says the perimeter of the rectangle ABCF, so the perimeter is the distance around the outside. So starting there, across there, up there, across there, and back to there is going to give me 24 centimeters. Well, I know that that's 7 centimeters, and I know that that's 7 centimeters. So if I take that away from 24, and then half my answer, that's going to give me the length of these sides here. So I can work out BC by doing, so BC is going to equal 24, take away 7 plus the 7, which is 14, and then I need to half my answer. So 24, take away 14 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is going to give me 5 centimeters. So that side there, BC and AF, is 5 centimeters. Now I can work out what H is, or DC, because from there to there is 9 centimeters, and I've just worked out that this is 5 centimeters, so H or DC is going to be 9 take away 5. Okay, now I can use the formula to work out the area of the trapezium, because I know now that the height here is 4 centimeters. So area of trapezium so that formula means a half times A plus B times H. So a half times, my A's and my B's are 7 and 3, times by the height, which I just worked out to be 4. And then if I just put that into my calculator exactly as it is there, so I press my fraction button, 1 over 2 times, open bracket, 7 plus 3, close bracket, and then times by 4. That gives me an answer of 20, and area is measured in squares, so it's centimeters squared.